What's up, everyone? My name's Lisa, for those of you that may not know. So I was just moved to just share this message with you to go over the ways that, or the process that I pretty much go through every single time I'm trying to release some sort of pattern or behavior that has been blocking me from moving forward. Okay, so this has been used by me from everything from my drugs and alcohol addiction all the way up to harmful relationships. Okay, and just everything else in between. How I've even moved into practicing better behaviors. Okay, so anyway, the first step has always been about becoming aware of the problem, okay, or the pattern, whatever it is I'm repeating, because awareness is the first step in change, and you can't change anything that you aren't aware of, right? So as soon as I have this awareness, it's like, okay, so I have to embrace that awareness. And depending on what the awareness is, okay, you may not always be ready to be accepting of that awareness and the change that needs to then be followed up with the awareness, behind this awareness. All right, so after the awareness, and then depending on what the awareness has been, I move into this, the next step is like moving into the step of accepting that this is the issue and that I have to change. Okay, it's like taking accountability. I mean, it's a big step, taking acceptance, having acceptance. Okay, but the acceptance can come, what I found in my own within my own journey, spiritual journey, is that I can have this acceptance that I have this issue and I need to change, and I don't always have to, like, it's like whether I can approve of it or not. Okay, like I can approve that I need to change this, and then that helps me move in smoother, but it's like, even if I don't really approve of the change, like it's not really something that I want to change right away, because what I've found is that many of the things that I have repeated in the past, I have really grown an attachment to that. So this is why it may, or like some things, like you can't just become aware of it and then be like, okay, I accept that I have this, I'm gonna quit it. Okay, maybe you can like just move right into releasing it like that same time, but nothing has worked like that for me. Okay, it's usually over a period of times. It's like if I do something like a million times, the next time, like I'm going a million times, I'm only going 999, whatever, 999,000, times less, like one time more less, so, and it's like been this very slow process. Like it literally is going down just one thing at a time. There are other things that I can like jump through. Okay, like it may most of the stuff has taken years, and some of the stuff, it's like it continues to come up at different times in my life, just because I don't believe that anyone's ever going to be 100% healed, because I feel like if we are 100% healed, that we move into this level of perfection. And for me, I believe that perfection would be, God level. And although he makes us all in his likeness, I don't believe that while we are here on earth that we ever really achieve that status. Okay. And should we move into the level of ascended master where we become one of the guides, where we are guiding our loved ones on earth, living earth. Okay. And so anyway, so this acceptance can come, of this pattern or behavior, with or without your approval. Okay. So it's like, once you become aware of this issue, okay, and then once you accept it, that you have it and that it needs to change, okay, so then it's like, okay, so now that I know better, I need to do better. Okay, so it's like, again, this practice, this like practicing your way towards this new behavior. And as I'm practicing, I'm also moving towards forgiving myself for having repeated the issue for as long as I have, and for the allowance of the behavior or the pattern for however long, or even if it's just one time. Like, one time is enough to do damage, right? So if I've developed a pattern that I've repeated since childhood to into my adult age, that's like years and years and years, so but either way, it's like the forgiveness has to come in for me. I have to forgive myself for the leniency, or having to respond to whatever it was, using that like vice, whatever it is. It can, for me, it's been everything. It's been money, sex, drugs, rock and roll, all the stuff. Okay, men, just everything. So food, so, and these things have just been slowly released. And sometimes it's like I could think that one thing is done, but then I go back to it. For me, the one thing that I've only consistently stayed away from, and once I put it down for the final time, because even releasing drugs and alcohol, like this time that I got sober, this was my lucky 13th time of trying to stop. I had been put into drug rehabs and mental facilities for children as a teenager, and from I think I started when I was 12 or 13, something like that, being hospitalized. And it's like I went into those different things 9 times, and then I went into outpatient 3 or 4 more times. And so this was my lucky 13th time. So even trying to be sober wasn't my first try. There are some people that can get it on their first try, although I believe that anybody who has a real issue with drugs or alcohol, whether they have gone to treatment or not, there's some time with it, recognition on your own where you have tried to quit, so anyway, so again, it's as I'm going through this, practicing myself into new behavior, I'm continuing to go through this understanding, just to lighten up on myself. I had to, because I had to realize in the acceptance of my behaviors, my shamed behaviors, whether I was shaming myself or other people were shaming me for whatever it was I was repeatedly doing, or both. It's I had to release that too, just release the caring what other people thought about what I did. Because, for me, all of this started first and foremost because I got to a place in my life where I surrendered, where I understood in my heart, not just like with words, like I understood in my heart and in my very depths of my soul that I was broken. And I didn't know how to live my life. And so, again, but it's still the same process that I'm sharing here with you. It's like having that awareness, okay, accepting that awareness with or without my approval, which it did not come with my approval. That was like very humiliating to me, you know, and, you know, just trying to do better. It was like, when you've been doing something for so long, you don't really know what to do or how to do it better, you know? So, you know, I do recommend that while going through these changes, you know, you do talk to somebody, you know, go, you know, seek guidance from a therapist, you know, somebody that, or at least somebody who has implemented the changes that you want to see in your life. Like they have implemented these changes in their life as well, you know? So, and I continue to this day to believe that at any time I can start my day over. And just because society says that, you know, you're 51 and you know your life is pretty much over or whatever, like you should already like be heading towards like retirement. Like for me, my life is just beginning. You know, I've been working towards, you know, all these different goals, you know, that I am continuing to work forward, you know, walk towards these goals, you know. And when life gets overwhelming, what happens is, you know, I've shared it a million times on my channel, is I look down at my feet. Why? Because it reminds me where I am. And where am I? I'm right here. I'm sitting here. I'm talking to my YouTube group, and this is it. This is the only moment in my life that matters right now. Like this is what's happening. And once I'm aware of like where I am and what I'm doing, it's like I can look up, I can take a deep breath, you know, exhale, and I just keep doing what's in front of me. And then the next time that my mind gets whirly and I start like hearing, you know, all the projections from society, you know, however that shows up, you know, whether it's just like through whatever I grew up hearing or just like what I've heard on TV or whatever it is that I'm hearing, it's like, that's the way I tell my brain to shut the fuck up. Like I literally have to tell myself that, to just shut the fuck up. Like, you don't know. And it's like, as I continue to move through these like little hurdles in my life, it's like eventually it's like I started getting places, or I started to accomplish like these mini feats of peace and freedom within my mind, and you know, being able to get through the day, and to be able to get through a day without having a fucking anxiety attack. Like, well, I had never lived like that, you know? And so to begin to be able to live like that, or to begin to live like not caring what people think, you know, and just knowing that I didn't have to get anybody else's approval. Yeah, like this is not a race. Life is not a race. That's the other thing, is that I also have embraced this mentality that life is not a race. And it's like, even though I can still like move into that where I think that I'm running out of time. Okay. But, and, then I remember like time isn't even freaking real. You know what I'm saying? Like we've freaking made that up too, and I feel like that was just kind of like made up and pressed upon us to also add to the anxiety of the freaking world. I just have learned to slow down, and that's what I've continued to do, is just give myself a break. I'm not out to impress anybody. I am what I am. I always have been. I don't see that part of me ever changing. I have been my goal, my end game is to have a firm foundation for my children and be able to pass down tools to them that are going to help them be the best adults that they can possibly be. Now, there have been many hurdles, since my children have been born and since I've gotten sober that, we've had to go through. And, these hurdles, although they set us back a lot, they didn't mean that we can't still get there. Okay. I will never stop believing that I can't accomplish everything it is that I see in my future. As long as I'm willing to do the work, man, you can't stop me, and nobody can. And nobody can stop you either. But it's you that needs to decide that you want to do the work. And then it's like, once you make the decision to do the work, then you have to show up, like back your words up. You can't just be saying, oh yeah, I'm doing this, I'm going to do this, because I've also sat back and watched a lot of people, as I was learning how to maneuver. That was a great piece of advice that I received that I will pass on to you, is like, sit back and watch people, because as you watch people, you can let everybody else make the mistakes for you. You can see what people are doing, see what's like holding them back, see what's, adding to their failures or their own growth and development. Like when I first got sober, stopped drinking and drugging, they suggested that I stay out of a relationship for a year. Well, I didn't think I had an issue with that. So I got pregnant, I was like 3 months into trying to stay sober, and I found out I was pregnant, so that wasn't really great. But after that, I continued to watch people get into relationships early on in recovery, and it was like they would come in, they'd start doing good, they'd meet a girl, they'd meet a guy, and then the next thing you knew, they were both getting high, getting drunk. Okay, they come back in sometimes and pick up a white chip, and sometimes I would never see them again. Okay, so I went on a 5-year plan. I said, I'm on a 5-year plan, I'm staying away from a relationship. But I learned that was one of the things that I learned just by sitting back and watching people. And it's it's like, you can't say that they're you can't like judge them or blame them, because I myself, I didn't think I had a problem with that. I thought I had a problem with drugs and alcohol. I didn't have a problem with men, until I realized I have a problem with men, So it's just been these baby steps. And it's like the onion can, the road gets narrower as the layers unravel to who you are, and it's like you can take this as far as you want. I have stayed committed to, I want it all, I want it freaking all. And and with that, it's like I have also, and it's like you also have to commit to being able to sacrifice certain things. I've had to walk away from a lot in order to keep my peace of mind. And it's like I've walked away from people, places, and things that have meant a lot to me, but they're not worth my peace of mind. They're not worth the relationship that I have with my children. You know, they're not worth the peace that I have within my home, you know. And so it's really about, you have to decide what it is that you want. What's your end game? Like, where do you see yourself going, you know, and what do you want for yourself, and what are you willing to do to get there? You know, I feel like these tools, as simple as it can be, it's like I've literally applied them to like everything. Like it works for me when I'm going to the gym. As far as like dieting, it's like, you know, if I mess up, if I choose to eat a cookie, because that's like my weakness, like I have this thing for freaking chocolate chip cookies, or freaking that buttercream icing, like, oh my God, like Jesus Christ. Like I just, am I willing? Like I could do whatever I want. You can do whatever you want. You just have to be willing to deal with the consequences of your actions. And as long as you're willing to deal with the consequences of your actions, then do it. Like, I feel like that has been, one of the things that really, it's like it gave me freedom. It helped me. It helps me to feel like I'm in control of this shift, of this change. It's like, it's not so much like somebody's telling me what to do. It's like, okay, I decided. It's like when I think about the consequences, I'm like, okay, well, I can live with that. Okay. And then I'll do it and I'll be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Or, you know, there are some things that I'm like, no, I'm not willing to go there, you know, but it's my choice, you know. So anyway, I hope that this helps you. I mean, I feel like it's seriously continues to save my life on a daily basis, like these simple things, and they're just these simple practices that can be implemented into life every day and used to further your life and your growth and development in any area. So yeah, look down at your feet. Why? Because it'll remind you where you are. And once you remember where you are, it's like you take a deep breath, you exhale, you look up, and you do what's in front of you to do, and that's it. And you can repeat that as many times as necessary. And be sure to pass that on to a friend, because maybe your brain is like mine and you might forget. And you always want somebody to be able to remind you of what you have to do to get on track, you know. And so there you have it. I love you guys. I hope this helps. And yeah, have a great night. Bye.